we end up at this point of watching me hyena laugh because I'm scared to go past a quarter throttle on a hydro? A Hydro Gear 314 matched with some fourth gears out of a Spicer or a Footy, and here we go. So here's the theory. That is going to get welded on the pump motor assembly on the end of the shaft coming out, which usually has a little itty bitty gear. This, I need to take and I need to drill this out so that it fits down over the top of this and weld it on the bottom of it flat so that that sits down inside there. And what I found is that the diameter of this is exactly 1¼ inches. And this, the second one down, is 1¼ So what I'm going to do is put it in the drill press. I'm going to drill down through, and we're going to see if we can manage to get this to work. Now these are made out of sintered steel. I'm not sure what's going to happen when I try and drill it, but we'll find out. Alright guys, so drilling this out turned out to be an utter total stupid idea. But if you've got a round hole, or at least a semi-round hole, why not make a round object that goes in it? So we're borrowing a friend's lathe, and you could probably do the same idea with a drill press. We just have a 1/2-inch bolt going through it. If we had longer threads, we could just suck it up inside of a drill press and do it. But we're just going to take a grinder and hit the top of that and see if we can make a round peg for a round hole. What?
It's a handy item to have.
Yes, a lathe is definitely a handy item to have.
Mm-hmm.
I
need a bigger one. That one's a fucking kid's toy compared to what I need to deal with. But how close?
I really shouldn't have to go and say this, but I'm going to. You need to check all of your clearances to make sure, no matter what, that this is going to make it when it goes down into the case. In the case of the gear set that I chose, I've had to clearance over here, and I've had to clearance over here, and I probably will have to take out this little piece here. Check, check, recheck, and check some more before you try to put it together, because if you snap your case, you start over with another one, and you're out that time. So, double, triple, quadruple, check everything. There we go. Now we got to measure that, make sure it sticks out the correct amount that it's supposed to, and go from there. Right now we've got extra gears in here because I want you to be able to see exactly what the difference is. So this is the gear that we're replacing, and this is the gear that we're replacing. So if I swap hands here, we can see the ratio that we have here versus the ratio that's underneath. Come here. There we go. And that is our final ratio. All ground down, ready to fit and everything. Now, the original setup had a little bit of play in it. This definitely has its own bit of play. It's not a perfect meshing of the gears, but I wanted to show you this also. So I have been driving this with a ginormous 8-inch engine pulley to the stock. And as you can see, focus, that is what it's been doing to the internal gears on it. The slamming of having that upgraded pulley on the motor has done this to it. Now, I've always had a theory that these motors were able to cavitate for a while, And what I ended up finding was down in here, once I pulled out the motor cylinders and everything, was that they had little chunkies in them. And those chunkies came from this, breaking parts out, falling down into here and going through that motor. Part of that is I took the screen for the motor out in order to increase the flow. And when I did that, I took out the safety that was keeping it from going through. So this thing is damaged. It is what it is. We had a learning experience. On the next one, I will remove the bypass, but I will put the screen system back on. So this has no bypass in it whatsoever because I didn't want any of the flow or anything inhibited. But next time I will put the screen back in order to save it from the gear chunkies messing it up. So there we are. We're all cleaned up. We're going to fill this up with some oil. And then we're going to put it all together and then top it off and put it back in the rig for testing. Gotta make sure you pump the air out of the system. So as you can see, it's bubbling right now. And so that is air that was down there. And if we had just slammed it in gear, it would not have been oiled in the actual pump and motor assembly. There we go. Now, you also need to do the same thing here. You need to throw your pulley on here. I'm sorry for the angle. And just make sure, yep, there's some more bubbles going on. Make sure you get all of those out of there. Okay, go ahead and restart it.
Did.
Alright, so here we go. First start. We're filming it just in case I go crashing through my brand new tent. I managed to kill the battery monkeying with it earlier, so we're going to see if we can get it to start with this Hulkman pack.
It died. Okay then.
Oh yeah, we need more engine. It'll go faster. It needs more engine. It needs more gumption. This poor dead 14 horsepower just does not have enough torque. Oh my God, will that definitely go faster. I gotta lower this thing. I have got to get it more horsepower. This project is going places. Thanks everybody. We're gonna see this at the drag strip.